Senator Faruqi.
Thank you, Chair. I seek leave to move Greens amendments 1 to 4 on sheet 8907 and Amendment 1 on sheet 8908. Is it possible to move them together? Great. Thank you. So these amendments really relate to the assistance for severely affected regions, the Special Appropriation Coronavirus Economic Response Package Bill 2020. And Amendments 1 to 4 on sheet 8907 explicitly adds local government as a potential recipient of funds. This amendment adds the inclusion of supporting communities through financial assistance to local governments and their projects as a purpose of the bill. As we know, many local government areas and their communities, especially in New South Wales, South Australia and Victoria, are still suffering from the massive impacts of the bushfires. And it will take a long time for them to recover from that alone. So the Greens want to add local government as recipients of these funds, so community projects can continue to be funded in the time of this crisis. Community projects such as maternal child health care, youth services, and support for local art and cultural activities, amongst the many other wonderful community projects that local communities and councils run. Amendment 1 on sheet 8908 inserts requirements for transparent reporting about how money is spent and an open process in allocating support funding. I understand this funding is around $1 billion, so we really do need some transparency. On that, this amendment will insert requirements to publish details of the contracts that are signed, with the full text of all agreements to be published within 2 weeks of finalizing. It will also require the publication of a quarterly list of all agreements, including the recipient, the amount, the date of the payments, and the nature of the agreement. This amendment will also require publication of a quarterly statement of the amounts expended under the bill, including the amounts paid to particular jurisdictions and type of recipients. The amendment requires that where appropriate, and that's because the Greens recognize the urgent nature of some expenditure, but where appropriate, the Minister must use an open process to allocate funds, for example, an open tender. The Minister must write every quarter to the Joint Standing Committee on Public Accounts and Audit, outlining instances in which an open tender was not used and the reason it was not in the public interest. While we understand the urgency and while we need the reason for this funding, we also think that appropriate transparency and accountability is still a valid process for any amount of funds, public funds that are expended.
Minister.
Very much, Chair. The government will be opposing this amendment. The federal government will only provide direct payments from the severely affected regions fund to states and territories, where local government are best placed to administer a program. The Commonwealth will arrange for the funds to be administered to the local government entity via the states and territories using well-established mechanisms.
So the question be that the amendments be agreed to. Those of that opinion say aye. Those against say no. I believe the noes have it. Senator Faruqi, you would like the usual.
Yes, thank you.
So ordered.